Wondering how to turn your dreams of entrepreneurship into a reality? Take the mystery out of success, clear the fog of failures, and use speaking to create a six-figure business. Learn the success strategies of international speaker and business coach Katya Ravi. Learn business from brave to rave.
Bonjour, 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 bonjour. Today, I want to talk about taking responsibility. Taking responsibility for our actions as people, but really as business owners. And what is the responsibility part that would affect a client? So, just about a month ago, I have someone who come and clean my house, and I was really excited because I was having a dinner party with a bunch of friends, and really was looking forward to the cleaning person coming in. She had just been hired it's been about a month, a month prior to that. And the morning then she was supposed to come, which is the day before the party, she actually texted and she said, hey, won't be able to be there. It was 2 days before the party, and won't be able to be there. My car, this morning, I had issue with my cars. And I totally understand. I was like, no worries, what time do you think you can come? Maybe tomorrow or even Saturday in the morning or in the afternoon, or the party doesn't start until 6:30. So really, as long as it's done before that, that's not an issue. And I didn't get a text back. So I was like, okay, she's dealing with car issue, maybe at the garage and all that. By the mid-afternoon, though, that was about 7:30 in the morning. By mid-afternoon, though, I resent a text and say, hey, can you let me know when it would be convenient for you? I can come pick you up. I did offer that, and just let me know what we need to do to make this happen. So I was actually not mad that she didn't show up at the time. Why? Because, things happen, and it happened to all of us to have a car broken down, or a child who's sick, or something. And I waited about for 2-3 hours, and I didn't get a response back. So now I'm really worried. It's Thursday night. I have a party on Saturday. I'm like, well, I kind of need to know if she's coming or not, because if not, I need to go ahead and do some of these things myself. And the house is really very clean all the time. I'm very organized. I like to stay organized. So it's not like it would be a big deal. But I had guests, and I wanted to make sure then things were straightened up. And Friday morning, I sent another text. I said, hey, can you just let me know one way or the other? By now, I'm a little aggravated because I'm like, okay, we all have these things to happen, but take responsibility and communicate with me. And that's the key word, guys, communicating. Communicate with your client when something happened and you can't deliver. Now, the fact that she couldn't deliver was not the huge problem. The problem is communicate with me and let's try to find a way to still make it happen. That way me, the client, still get the service than I was promised I was getting. No response. By Friday night, I still don't have any response, and a couple of more texts. And I was like, just let me know if you can come Saturday morning, Saturday midday, Saturday afternoon. And I know you guys are probably thinking, wow, that's the least of your worries. You have a cleaning person. And well, yeah, I actually have a cleaning person. This has just been the past month. Then I have one. I am very busy with my work. My partner is also an entrepreneur, very busy with his work. And I realized then being the face of the company is also a big thing. Then I preach to my client, and how can we eliminate time, and that eliminate time drains, and really that was times where I was doing something else, and I definitely can hire someone to do it. So after I got past the fact, then, oh my gosh, I'm gonna hire someone who's cleaning my house, and now how people are gonna look at me. They're gonna look at me weird, and after I really got away with that, I decided to hire her. And it was really disappointing to see that was happening. Then she did not communicate with me. That was really, really a bummer. Saturday morning, I started, I cleaned up. I told my partner, I was like, hey, this is what you can tackle. And everybody else, even my daughter pitched in. I mean, we all kind of pitched in. And like I said, it's not like it was that much to get done. But she could have really avoided all of the feeling that she made me feel. And I was disappointed. I was rushed. I couldn't plan because of no communication. I would have known on Thursday right away that she had no plan on coming. And I would have done it a little bit differently. I would have done a little bit on Thursday afternoon, a little bit on Thursday night, a little bit on Friday during my lunch. So all of that to say then communication is really, really important. I think we're going to take it even a little further. It's about 2 weeks after the fact now, and I still had not heard from her. And that's really a big deal. There's no follow-up, no care of me as a client. And it was just disappointing. And it kind of relate to, it is a business. She's running a business. She's cleaning houses on her own. It's not like, she works for a company or something like that. This is her own business. So that's that. And then something else happened. Just about last week, who really made me want to do this podcast about taking responsibility. I did a speech. I was a keynote speaker. I was hired as a keynote speaker in Durham, in my own state, in my own town. In September, and we had agreed, on. I know this was someone who was really trying to do something good for the community, and someone who was, you could tell she was, working hard, and there was other factor that I wanted to show, my care. So I charged about $3,300 less than I charged usually for what's the price for a keynote. And we agreed on a couple of things, and I even referred her to a couple of sponsors and people who could be sponsors there. So I really did my share of promoting it on all of my social media, and that was that. I went there. There wasn't many people who were attending the event. But at this point, it wasn't too much my problem. I went, I delivered, I made sure then everything was, done correctly on my end. And that's really kind of pretty much. We had agreed that I would get paid, after the event. So, I would say about 2 weeks after the event, I sent a text, an email, and said, hey, you can pay me through PayPal, or you can, pay me with a check, and this is the address. And then I was told that it was going to take, 30 days for me to get paid, because they needed to wait for the money of the event. I'm a pretty big speaker. I speak on stages in New York City, in Las Vegas, in a couple of places who are pretty big and major event. I've never really heard that. You do an event, and usually you get paid actually before, and then half before and then half after. Or things like that. But, I was like, gosh, we local, then, no problem, And 30 days, I did not hear anything. Again, guys, communication. So I sent an email back and I said, yeah, hey, it would be nice to get, to get the money. It's not about the money so much. It is and it's not. I mean, I'm in business. What does the word business mean? It's a transaction. It's an exchange of value between two people. So I provide a service, I get paid. And this is really kind of, how it works. So I definitely went back and said, hey, we are closing now that month. So I was wondering if you had sent me the check. I have an accountant, of course, and I want to make sure then I was getting paid. And then the excuses started. Well, I still haven't received my payout from the event. So you need to give me at least, 30 days. And I was like, okay. Now I was like, well, who cares, really? Like, it's not my problem what's happening on her hand. But, again, I was like, okay, well, I wish she would have let me know without me propping. And now, mid-October, October 20th, I sent another email. Say I was wondering when the payment for my speaking. Now we are 5 weeks after the event. And, I was told my apology for the delay. But then we went into excuses. I'm in dispute with Eventbrite because of this. And I didn't get paid. So I cannot pay you because I didn't get paid. And then she went on saying then she was going to pay my fee out of her earning. I'm like, well, okay, whether it's you earning or not earning, doesn't really matter to me. And then she blamed the speaker for not paying her $1,000 of dollars. And I was just like, okay, I don't, I was like, I guess some people have no ethic and, I'm a business coach and, I kind of went on into that. And then that's pretty much. And then by November, beginning of November, I still had nothing. That was November 7. And I asked, asked for a check or PayPal and no response. Absolutely ignorance there. I was ignored. I don't like to be ignored. I'm a client. I did a service. I'm supposed to get paid. And I actually do not like to be ignored. So 3 days later, I resent the same email. No response. Then a couple of days later, I was like, hey, I really would appreciate the communication. My service were rendered. The payment not received. This is becoming an urgency now. And then here, this is where it kind of went a little above my liking. You haven't heard from me because I don't know when your money is going to come. I have many people who are late, who are failing to pay me. So I'm working on finding better people to collaborate. And I'm like, well, that's not an answer. So I was like, well, whether you got paid or not shouldn't be a factor. You hire me, I performed. And as a business coach, I was like, this is not a great way to advance your reputation. This is not good. So I was like, please do send the payment. You're now 2 months late. I was nice enough to extend you a payment after. So I was like, you need to keep your hand off the deal here. And I was like, I need to get paid by the end of this week. And here, this is where it went wrong. If I don't get paid, there's no money to pay you. LOL. Guys, come on. LOL. And she was like, it's my only factor prevented your payment. And then she went on. This is only 30 days past. And I was just like, whoa, this is such a wrong way of dealing with this issue. I do events for clients. I help them. I coach them on it. And I told her, I say, you need to listen to my podcast because this is not good. You shouldn't LOL to someone then does not get paid. It's called mocking and not hearing the complaint. How often do you do that in your business, guys? How often do you have a client who complain, or some of your people who haven't get paid for something that they have performed, and you guys are mocking? This is not a great way. I mean, that moment on, I stopped looking at her as a professional. I was like, this is it. This is not okay. She was paid by the sponsors, then I recommend. And whether she ever collects the money or not, ever shouldn't be affected by what I need to get paid. And I told her, I said, please do not use, I'm only 30 days late. Who does that? I couldn't understand it. And I went ahead and to tell her, I was like, as a business coach, I'm going to give you a couple of tips. And I was like, you need to understand, I'm getting aggravated because you're not taking responsibility for an obligation that was fulfilled. It's a poor business model. You have a debt, you're late paying it, and you're using words and excuses like LOL. And I was like, it's truly like a poor business model and not counting on your reputation. And then she continued, this is about having the last word, guys. She's not hearing what I'm saying. And she said, yes, I thought it was funny that you don't seem to understand if I don't get paid, there's no money to pay you, period. The sponsor fee was used to produce. I am not obligated to go to an explanation, but I don't allow bullying. And I was like, bullying? What is she talking about? We're talking business here. And then she blamed a major corporation, Eventbrite, because they made a mistake. And I'm like, well, it could take years until she gets that done. It's a big corporation. And I just really, really got even more aggravated. Guys, the difference between having a hobby and running a business is huge. This is exactly what I mean by it. And I told her, I say, it is not funny that I don't understand. You don't have money to pay. You sell things. You ask for a payment plan. Guys, she could have said, hey, you know what? I'm going to pay you out of my personal. You want to make things right? Guys, you make things right. When I was started in business and I needed money, I sold stuff. Why? Because it's important. One of my coaches that I adore said, you need to do what you say you were going to do, when you say you were going to do it, and how you say you were going to do it. That is integrity. I told her, I said, please, your reputation is everything you have in a business. In business, and I did tell her, you do what you say you were going to do, when you say you were going to do it, and how you say you were going to do it. This is not bullying. It's just business. I did not ask to get paid. If she did not get paid, she needs to ask her business attorney, but I am not involved in our company. I provided a service and I'm still waiting to get paid, but nobody else should pay the consequences for an unsuccessful event or not money collected or like anything went wrong. I mean, I don't know what went wrong and I'm sure it wasn't intentional, but this is it. This is being in business. And then we went even further. She told me I needed to be very careful what assumption and statement she made regarding her reputation and character. She does not allow people to slander her name. And I was just like, you're not even communicating with me. I'm not bullying you. I'm just talking business. I just want to pay. And she told me I insulted her character because I don't have the patience to wait until she fixed this. And I was just like, wow. I mean, some people really, really don't have a clue how to run a business. And she told me, she was like, I will not tolerate your text. I will make sure, I want you to make sure that I'm 100% clear. You will hear from me when there is something. And then she wrote me off from the, from Messenger and Facebook and blocked me. And I was like, wow. Like, again, another instance. Guys, I can tell you, if it was me, I promise, I would have sold the couch if I had to. Why? Because I don't want people to go through the fact that they provided a service for me and I am not able to pay. I can't first of all, I can't conceive that. I would find ways. I would go and I mean, I have done so many different things. I have Airbnb'd my house at one point. I mean, I would do whatever it takes. Why? Because it is my responsibility. I said I was going to pay you. I pay you. Point. End of story. It would have been as easy as her to say, Katia, I am in a really, really bad situation. I'm not asking you to understand. It is not your job. However, would you take $10 every week until your fee is paid? I know I can take that. I will eliminate 2 of my coffee, and I don't know if she drinks coffee. I'm making things up, but I will not go out to eat one time. But I want to make sure that my debt is paid because that's the kind of person that I have. This is the kind of character that I have. This is the kind of person that I want to be. That, my friends, I could have been paid by the end of next year, $10 every week. I mean, I'm not saying that that's what it would have taken, but it would have, it's so different versus taking excuses and making excuses and excuses and excuses. And it's really bad business model, not counting that this person is in my community. Now, I coach a lot of people. And if people are asking at some point, hey, she's doing another event, can do you think, Katia, it's a good idea that I sponsor there? No, because there is absolutely no ethics. When there is no ethics, guys, you don't have a good business. You don't have a good business model. And I know that sounds rough, and I know that sounds really harsh, but this is just how it is. Take responsibility. Now, trust me, I make mistakes. Not too long ago, my calendar double booked me. Not really my fault. My calendar's fault. Did I call my client and say it's my calendar fault? No, but I can tell you, I worked at 8 p.m. that day because that person wanted her session before she had an event 2 days later, and she had to work on it. I made it work. Do I usually coach at 8 p.m.? No. So all of these things showed, I apologize. I was like, I am so sorry. I should have seen it. I should have seen that 2 things came at the same time. I don't know what happened, and this is what I tell my client. I take full responsibility. Another example, last week, one of my clients, I always record my Zoom call. It was transferred, recorded. I sent the link, went, and then I took my computer for repair. And then I left and I went to Atlanta. It never sent. I told the client, I take full responsibility for this. I really apologize. This is totally my fault. Is it the fault of the computer? Is it the fault of... Yes, but ultimately it's mine. I am in charge. When you learn how to run a business like that and to have those kind of authenticity, this kind of plain honesty with yourself, you'll start making more money. Why? Well, authenticity and ethics, reputation, is everything we have in business.